We're hopping into game number 2 right now. This is going to be on Habitation Station. Again, the TVZ between these two Titans do continue. Jjakji, of course, leading the series now 1-0. Paranoid, he did pretty good with that first attack, but I think a lot of that fell on Jjakji making a bit of a greedy move there. We'll see if he can hold it together a little bit better this game, a little more tightly, if you will. Just get all the buttons pressed. As you can see, I often press all the wrong buttons. I'm still pressing the wrong buttons. There we go. I'm just trying to put the score up. If you guys are unfamiliar with the Game Heart UI, real quick, here in the lower left corner of the map, you'll be able to see the score displayed at all times, whether it's a best of 3, best of 5. But of course, everything today is a best of 3. There's a best of 5 going on between the two teams, decided by each one of these best of 3s will denote one of the score points. Team Acer currently leads the series 1-0 in that regard, but not leading the series. Ooh, I put the wrong score up there. Not leading the series ahead in this matchup here in this best of 3 in the top left corner of Habitation Station. It's going to be the Acer player, Red Zerg Paranoid. And his opponent, who is leading the series, and what his Rifkin is now denoting is one of the most confusing introductions he's ever given. 1-0, it is the Blue Terran God, known as mYinsanity's Jjakji. So for this series, again, a little bit curious more on games number 3 and 4. I'm not gonna lie. Not that I'm not expecting good games out of this. Jjakji showing magnificent play, and Paranoid showing, keeping a calm head under pressure, not giving up too early, and being able to just dig in deep. But I'm really curious about games number 3 and 4. We're gonna have Bly versus Stardust and Kane versus Nurchio be games 3 and 4. And this is, of course, for those who have not been keeping up with the Euro Series, the playoffs. This is the semifinals for the entire season. The winner of this, the team that wins this, will go on to the winners, the finals match against whoever won versus Mouse Sports and MIA. I don't know the updated score of that. And of course, the loser will go for the 3rd place match. But of course, everyone's always gunning for that winning, that number 1 slot. The small nod to the Euro Series, by the way, guys. They've been running this for multiple seasons. This is not the first one, and it certainly won't be the last. This is, of course, wrapping up the Winter Series from the end of last year of 2013. Jjakji playing a little bit more greedy this opening here with Command Center first, albeit on the high ground. So that's kind of a bit of a, that's almost like a nod of respect right there. Wanting to play it safe against someone like Paranoid, not willing to risk putting it on the low ground and take a loss early because, Paranoid decides to do like an early pool, which of course he hasn't. He's just playing out pretty standard actually. Oh, hold the phone. No, rewind. He's not playing it standard. I thought this was going to be 3 base before 3 hatch before pool is fine, but he's taking it at the gold. And this is actually really cool. So Habitation Station is, of course, the one map that has a gold base. Jjakji will not see this with the initial... gosh, there's actually no reason for him to scout this. This is fantastic. So, alright, I want to explain this a little bit more because I'm super nerding out about this. First off, I love when people take gold bases early. It doesn't happen because it's not involved with many map pools. And I've been yearning for a Terran player to lift off to the gold at some point. Maybe 2 racks as Zerg player, 5 racks as Zerg player after doing so. But, regardless of my whims and desires, for Jjakji to scout normally... You come up here to the main, you see, okay, it's gas, it's pool, he went hatchery first. This timing honestly doesn't look too odd. If he's really paying attention, he'll notice the drone count's way too high for this to have been a 15 pool, and he'll know the timing's like about 20 seconds too late. That being said, as he retreats out of the base, scouting for a 3rd is not out of the question, but there's no reason for him to check the gold base, really. Unless he is so good at this game that he knows there has to be a 3rd somewhere. Is he going to rally up to the 3rd at the gold? Is he going to find that? Again, you check the watchtower, and it's kind of this false sense of security when you see everything up here, but no actual 3rd. Now he'll see the creep, and he'll know it's there, though. So yeah, Jjakji, fully aware, sees the edge of the creep, knows what's up. A couple of Marines trying to catch an Overlord over here. Push it towards the main, perhaps. But anyways, a gold base, of course, for those, I don't know, everyone should know this at this point, but I'm just going to talk to anyone who doesn't. It lets you mine minerals significantly faster than a regular mineral patch. So early on, the mineral count for a Zerg player is not a big deal. Especially when you've got a gold, you're probably not going to be pumping out 50 links at a time anytime soon. What it will do, though, is help you leapfrog your drone count really quickly. And as we saw in Frost, Paranoid is not at all afraid of taking it early 4th. So if he decides to get it, he's got enough minerals, slaps down to 4th, has some banelings to defend, puts all this creep down, Jjakji's not going to really be able to push into it. Whoa, Tech Lab coming out here. Siege tanks? I see with a question mark, because there's no starport, right? Like this would be the Banshee, the Hellions, but not at all the case for either. Instead of bunkers coming down defensively, and the siege tank is in fact going to be made. All right, let's talk about the pros and cons of the siege tank here, guys. First off, defensively, Siege Tank's fantastic. You can use it to hold the line against any form of early aggression. Roach all-in, Banelings, the Siege Tank's got that long sniping power to it, which is cool, which is really nice. But more importantly, let's talk about the aggression it can provide, and that's, of course, taking the Watchtower provides the high ground vision to really start sniping off mineral lines. I mean, it's not going to reach the hatchery, but if you put a Siege Tank over here, it can reach the mineral line no problemo. And for Jjakji, I wonder if that's what he's got in mind here, because typically you see the Widow Mine opener, right? But one tank devoted to what is possibly defense for now. Looks like he'll be swapping over for some Hellions here in a sec. So this will be purely defensive. If there was 2 or 3 tanks, then maybe he'd be pushing out. But it's just one tank for the defense at the moment. Double engineering base on the way definitely says, hey, it's going to be bio, not at all mech. Don't freak out, guys. Jjakji's playing it pretty standard. And yeah, here comes the stim pack. Now, if Jjakji can get away with the 3rd base, that's going to be really darn cool. But of course, right now his infrastructure is nowhere to support anything that would necessitate an army to defend against that. A bit curious as to
First blood.
Leaving the tank here. I mean, you would have sieged it up if he was really paranoid about an attack. No pun intended, of course, for a Zerg player, but I like the creep spread coming out here. Connecting between this base allows it to leapfrog a little bit forward through the map faster than normal. Spreading towards the south, Paranoid does have some great creep spread, and of course, when you got a teammate like Scarlet, who's probably giving you pointers, that's not at all surprising. One siege tank going to be revealed is not the biggest deal in the world. The Overlord seeing double engineering base is going to be quite nice, though. Definitely confirms through the other Overlord scout, too, that it will be bio coming to Jjakji. Of course, you see the tech lab researching the additional barracks. But Hellion's starting to try and clean up a little bit of this creep. Again, kind of limited. This is weird to see this advanced spine crawler, but this is actually great. This will keep the creep kind of safe. You never see anyone push with a spine crawler, and it's not something that's meant to be aggressive. It is entirely defensive, despite the fact it is moving out across the map. Apparently going to chase back a couple of the Hellions with those hits. Meanwhile, back at home, he's researching his 1-1, and this is more along the timings of what you would expect to see. So, one of the biggest detriments to the last match, I felt, was really the 1-1 being so late for Paranoid, much less not even thinking about 2-2. This time, you'll be able to keep a little more evenly matched. That 3rd base economy is really nice, especially with that gold. I mean, we see it just soaring, almost double that of Jjakji's income. But Jjakji secured a new base now. And, of course, if you guys don't know, some people still think it's the old ways. I kind of wish it was the old ways. Mules do not get benefit from mining. There's no bonus to dropping mules on a gold mineral patch. They mine the same rate as the normal mineral patch. So, typically you see mules dropped at the normal base and then transfer SCVs over. Trying to get a bit of a forward presence here. I don't know how much I love this. Simpack is now done. Combat Shields has been started. This is a siege tank trying to... It does cover the ramp, albeit just barely. Doesn't quite cover the southern half of the base, so expanding down here is going to be out of the question for the time being, but provides some nice range to cover the ramp here nonetheless. With a wall off, Ling run by shouldn't be an issue, but this is still a lot of Lings. And as +1 Carapace finishes up, if you guys don't know, one siege tank unupgraded actually can't one-shot a Zergling anymore, but one siege tank with +1 upgrade can one-shot any level of Zergling armor. Coming from behind though, looks like Jjakji might need to pick up and get out of here. That siege tank is going to be damned. Actually, I take that back. Heli is guarded behind the Marines. Do get some pretty good hits off, and the concave that surrounded on them is a bit negated by the sort of ball effect of the Marines. However, spreading some Zerglings over here towards the gold base of Jjakji will drive the SCVs back at the bare minimum. So no mining really going on at the moment. And this medevac drop here towards the main, it's not going to cause the world's greatest amount of damage, but it's really meant to just draw the attention of Paranoid away so Jjakji can get his 3rd base under check. Does even pick up that Hellion. Really nice. Widow Mine's out on the map now too. Going to be able to start zoning out just a little bit of area here for Zerglings to necessarily run by. But 2-2 is already started here for Jjakji. This is again that Paranoid. He should be on 2-2 already. Like he should be sailing for that. It's not the end of the world that he's behind in upgrades, but, you know, that's the greatest advantage you have. Mutalisk, Banelings, and Zerglings. You've got upgrades most of the time going for you. This situation, though, it's going to be Mutalisk. It's going to be a lot of them, too, really early, and these medevacs are not going to get away with a whole lot. I love the turrets coming down, though. You don't see enough people invest into turrets, I feel. I mean, there's no amount of turrets that really straight up stops Mutalisks outright. Well, I take that back. If you've got, like, a million turrets, Mutalisks aren't going to... No one's going to touch that. But, that being said... It's going to be a really nice turn for these low amounts of Mutalisks. In fact, we'll snipe off a Mutalisk here. Marines trying to find a good engagement point, and, you know, supply-wise, Jjakji's ahead on army. It's going to be very dangerous for Paranoid to engage this, especially off of creep. Mutalisk is swooping from above to the north, and it looks like they may even circumvent this base and go towards the main. Those turrets come down the main, though, so never mind. Marines are going to try and respond. Widow Mines are not going to get a chance to really do too much here. Of course, it is such sweet, sweet succulence when you can force Mutalisks to accidentally fly over top of Widow Mines, but not going to happen. With the Mutalisks towards the north, Jjakji sees an opening here towards the south to go for a drop. This base has not been saturated, though, so not really a lot of opportunity for kills here. Drilling Claws has been started up. These Widow Mines, of course, need that like instantaneous burrow to be at their most effective ability. Queen going to get sniped as he pushes here into the base. Lots of Zerglings are going to respond, and that's a lot of Banelings following suit. But Jjakji says, your army's out of position. You fell for my trap, and the Banelings will try and collide into the Widow Mines. Beautiful spread out of Jjakji, though, minimizes the damage taken, but still, is this going to be enough to follow through? There's a lot of Zerglings, there's a lot of Banelings still. That's not a lot of Banelings, take that back. Still 4 rolling forward. The Mutalisks count is quite nice, though. We'll get a medevac kill, and Jjakji, of course, has his production rallying out behind this. Isn't going to be enough, though. Not to further push, but instead put some bunkers down. Really going to try and defend this up a little bit. I like not taking this extra geyser, by the way. So, you see Terran players who play bio often ignore their 5th or 6th geysers, and that's totally fine. You don't really need them. As a bio player, your gas count is the last thing you're worried about this late in the game. Early on, yeah, gas is kind of hard to make, but for now, he's going to put most of his gas intake towards either upgrades or medevacs, maybe Marauders later on, but for now, not taking this means the Mutalisks can't swoop up here, can't get that ricochet damage off, and can't get more free kills. Also, we will take a quick note. Jjakji did put turrets down in the main, kind of scattered all over the place, as he is a bit paranoid of these run-bys. Paranoid has certainly spooked him with these Mutalisks, but you know, Paranoid's 2-2 again is really, really late. Jjakji's already started up his 3-3, and looks like a couple Mutalisks are going to be picked off here. The investment into the Mutalisks, too, is not a bad thing per se, but again, that's gas I would have really liked to have seen gone towards that 2-2 much, much, much earlier. Plenty of Banelings in the middle of the map to take scuffles, to take skirmishes. So the Mutalisks will be poked back again. The low Marine count is scary. Well, hold the phone. We got a couple good Baneling hits. Might go off here with these Widow Mines. Can he destroy enough of these? Looks like not going to be the case. SCVs are going to be spread, but this is a lot of Zerglings. This is a lot of Banelings. This base is getting gutted raw, guys. SCVs in full retreat. Oh, there's not 2 Banelings. If there's 2 Banelings, this would be really scary, but still, most of the SCVs here have gone down. 25 workers killed, 4 Paranoid, and the Mutalisks. Oh, the Mutalisks actually going to be chased off. They were looking for an opening, looking for a hole. Couldn't quite find it. I realized that could have been phrased a little bit better, and I apologize for that, but dropping here towards the natural will get cleaned up by the Mutalisks. Jjakji really not able to run a tight ship here. Still, though, holds on quite nicely. The pushing power has not diminished either. Keep in mind, guys, Paranoid lost a lot of Banelings in that attack. Was the 25 SCVs killed worth it? We're going to find out in a second as these Banelings are morphing in, but I don't think a lot of these, hell, almost none of these will get a complete simming forward, realizing, wow, lots of free kills here for Jjakji. Look at his lips, look at his chops. Zerglings do flood in, but the Banelings are actually going to be somewhat left unscathed by the Widow Mines. Marines in full retreat are going to focus these down. He's got a split. Great splitting out of Jjakji, though. Marauders on the front lines will not be able to deal with the Mutalisks, though. And that count, that flock of flying hellbats, if you will, not hellbats literally like the Terran unit, but bats straight out of hell, is still in the count of 22. You know, 25 is kind of that number you expect. 30 is when it gets out of hand, but Paranoid, oh, coming on top of the Mutalisks, or on top of the Marines, on top of this missile turret, doesn't give a good gosh darn, says, no gold for you, not today. Wipes out the base once again. SCV's in full retreat. This is a bit frustrating for Jjakji. You guys have to consider that Paranoid's basically mined out his entire goal. Taking this so early allowed him to get a lot of extra resources really, really early on. And Jjakji, he's done a good job of getting some mining out of this, but unfortunately, it's been under constant harass, constant attack. Mutalisks keeping the army completely distracted up here. That's a lot of Banelings coming in, but I don't think this is enough to bust the planetary fortress. Now, if he tries to swoop in from the south with an attack, maybe that'll work out a little bit better for him, but you know, once again, the SV count is in the high 30s, or low 30s, sorry, because I can't count. I don't know high from low. Perhaps predicting an attack down here. I don't know if he saw this. He doesn't directly see the Banelings, but this will be enough to bust the planetary. You have to denote a lot of Banelings to bust one of these suckers down. They are quite strong, but there's so many Widow Mines, so many turrets to soak up the Sim City, but Jjakji's repositioning his army. I don't know if this will work. Paranoid going to try and catch him off guard. Banelings coming in way too slow from the behind. Will they go straight for the planetary? No, they go for the army and realize that's not going to be enough. He backs on out of there. Jjakji pushes them back across the map. Paranoid for the first time is going to be forced to give up a lot of map control. His creep has been receded. The Banelings have been kind of lackluster, if we're going to say all truth and honesty here, but The Mutalisk count has been pretty good. He's been maneuvering and weaving with them. He's kept the count relatively high. A lot of these Mutas are kind of low in health, though, so taking an engagement head-on will not be preferable, not the slightest. But Jjakji says, you know what? I got a lot of resources in my bank starting to build up. I need to start spending units. I need to start sacrificing units. So let's go for a bit of a push. In the lower left corner of the map, this ramp will play really hardcore against Paranoid. Coming in from behind, though, with the Mutalisk, going to try and cut off the reinforcements. Loses about 8 Mutalisk, but kills a lot of Marines for it. Hatchery does go down, and Jjakji, he can't exactly pick up and get out of here, but again, this ramp will be his best friend. Retreating back from this, the Banelings are pretty much used up before they can get involved with the engagement. Medivacs need to get on out of there, though. The Mutalisk is going to give swift chase, and Jjakji is actually going to lose a couple of these Mutalisks. A couple of Marines did split off and try and go for this base, but again, Paranoid, as we saw in game number 1, has established some static D. Trending out quite nicely here towards the end of the game. You gotta remember, guys, Jjakji's a whole upgrade over his opponent, 3-3 versus 2-2, and Paranoid is still taking these army engagements head on. Now, yes, it looks a little bit like it's like Jjakji's ahead. I mean, Paranoid's definitely behind in resources lost, but that's the causality of using Banelings. Like, the best Baneling hit in the world still comes out as quote-unquote ineffective because you lose the Baneling for it, right? There's no keeping it alive for round number 2. But one thing I guess worth considering is Paranoid has mined out of that gold. Oh, Bunker's gonna burn down here. That kind of sucks. Paranoid has mined out of his gold. That giant economic lead he had early on has been traded out for this lower 4th income base. Jjakji is still mining off of his gold, albeit not for too much longer, as he's almost mined it out. Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize there was actually a Thor defending this base too with a lot of turrets. So, Zergling Runbys actually will be quite effective at this base. Mutalisk, however, will not. They've drawn the entire army here to the south, and that's actually going to work out really nicely. Finally, moving on to Hive Tech, though. Paranoid, I kind of feel like he waited too long for this. The ineffective attacks he's been putting out on the map haven't really been buying him time for anything. But now that he starts harassing a little bit more, it's the time he's buying to get that Hive out. To possibly go for 3-3 and possibly, oh god, transition into Mutalisk! Oh, Ultralisk, but the Mutalisk takes so many hits with those Widow Mines. Oh my god. 37 Mutalisks have been lost over the course of this game, folks, and only 13 remain. Some Banelings will connect to these SCVs, and some hits will go off. Unfortunately, they go off on the Thor and the turrets. The SCVs should have all died here, but due to a bit of missed Baneling control, don't end up happening in the end. I can't get over how important that was, though, guys. Paranoid's harassment with the Mutalisks have been the one thing that's really been driving Jjakji insane. Like, the inability to move out because of the Mutalisks. That fear is now gone. He's got to realize how many kills and hits he got there. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. I was just so excited with how that happened. Marines drop here towards the lower left. Jjakji is putting the hurt, the pressure on Paranoid, whose income is, well, quite frankly, stifled in comparison to that of Jjakji's. Again, you know, that gold base paid off really well in the early game, but is that all that was keeping Paranoid afloat? Because Jjakji now pushing in to knock down this base, going to kill a lot of production, focuses on the Banelings. Widowmine's here to zone out any sort of Mutalisk, and of course the Thor is here on the front line. He should be able to help with the Mutalisk flock, not that it's exactly scary. More Widowmine hits going off. Paranoid just can't catch a break with these Widowmines. Oh my god, there are currently 18 Widow Mines available. This is not something you commonly see because the count is kept somewhat low. Mutalisks with Overseers will snipe them off, but that's not what's been happening in this game. A bit of a reverse effect, if you will. Planetary Fortress standing here with some missile turrets should be able to keep these Mutalisks from doing too much. And looks like Jjakji is going for that killing blow. Paranoid really doesn't have a lot left going for him. The Mutalisks are kind of his last stand. They do clear out the missile turrets, but as far as a base race, hell, a base trade, if you will, goes, it's not going to happen. Good game is thrown down, and Jjakji will take the second series 2-0, tying up the overall score 1-1 between mYinsanity and Acer. The next matchup, I believe, should be Stardust versus Bly. I say, unless they decide to swap something up. So that's what's coming up next, guys. Again, I'm going to toss up some ads while I get videos sorted. Maybe grab some more water. Thank you for tuning in. We're not done yet. Acer versus mYinsanity continues, and we'll be back very shortly. Thanks for tuning in.